Hi, I'm Allison Davies, Communications Assistant for Regional Tourism Organization 7, and I'm here this morning with Bill Sullivan, the Chief Executive Officer for RTO7. We are going to give you the 10,000-foot view of what RTO7 has been up to this year. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Allison. How are you?
I'm good. I thought we could just start out by having you give a summary of what RTO7 did last year.
Okay. Sure, thanks. That's a great question. There's a lot of different things we did. To begin with, 2019, 2020, probably the weirdest year in my 40 years in this industry.
Yeah.
It started with, it was actually a delayed start this past year. We didn't receive our funding commitment until the middle of April. Usually it's prior to that. Our fiscal begins April 1st. And we didn't have total confirmation until sometime in June. So that affected a lot of our programs right off the beginning. We weren't able to promote a lot of spring festivals and events. We weren't able to feature 21 of our partner videos. All those types of things, they just cascaded into bigger problems later on down the road. But we did have some positive things that happened as well. We really started working hard on our sustainable tourism, including that sustainable tourism in just about everything we did last year. As we all know, sustainable tourism has everything to do with social, environmental, and financial sustainability. And keeping that in mind, it kind of set us up a little bit better than other regions when COVID came to visit later on in the year. Our tourist investment program, TIP, managed by Kim Clark and Amanda Posner, really performed the way we wanted it to last year, and it's also a model of how we're running some of our other programs. Our T3 pilot, we're now successfully moving that over to management by RTO7 from the pilot stage. The investment attraction work we did with the 5 municipalities in Ontario's Lake Country really started to pay off last year with a number of succession matching projects in 2019. The product and experience development programs, Kim revised the programs, and that really, the reason she did that was to improve the amount of time that our stakeholders could access the program without taking up too much of their work time. And Alex did a great job with the partnership program, as she always does. And this year she included the storytelling program, which we took the idea from South Georgian Bay, and we just she really made that happen, and then she's revised it a little bit for the coming year, and it's really starting to take off for us. We continue to use embryonic analytics in partnership with Grey and Simcoe counties, and I think that's a really positive product to help us determine how to best develop product and market it. Our communications department did a fantastic job on industry and consumer awareness. Ali put together a brand new program called Snapshot, which we really enjoyed all summer long and all winter. It's kind of setting the stage for work that'll be happening later on down the road. So on a stakeholder front, we all know we had a pretty rainy spring in 2019. But prior to that, over the many years, the solid foundation of business practices, product development, regional awareness, I think helped those businesses come out of that slowdown a little bit quicker. The winter weather, it posed its own challenges for the coming year. But again, those solid foundations helped keep that industry moving. And then we all know what happened when COVID-19 came to visit and still here. Don't we all wish we had guests that stayed that long? We had a winter and golf campaign in market at the time. We suspended that in mid-March. And from COVID-19, RTO7 took on a brand new role. We now sit on economic development committees throughout rural Ontario. We sit up with Western Ontario, Bruce County, and a lot of other municipal communities as well. Just talking a little bit about COVID, going into a little bit more detail, we started working on solutions and right at the very beginning of March, actually before industry started to shut down en masse, which of course we all know was March break, and from what I was told, was going to be one of the very best March breaks ever. But I'll go into the COVID information just a little bit later on, Allison. But it's something that's still with us, and it's the worst thing that's happened to our industry ever, in my opinion. But we'll come out of this, and we have some solutions that we hope will help the businesses come out of that. So thanks for that opportunity, Allison.
Yeah, and I thought you said there were some campaigns in market when we had to stop, but I wondered if you could just give us a brief description of last year's Bruce Gray Simcoe campaign.
Sure. Last year's campaign, first of all, our marketing budget was reduced by 21%. We had a 20% reduction in our funding to previous years, so most of that came out of our marketing budget. We continue to use interest targeting to do our media buys and to target our messaging. We still use the iconic features and activities, but where we really our emphasis is mainly on features and activities that actually generate revenue and not just bring people to the region. We want them to actually spend money while they're here. Each year, the videos we've developed with our partners through the partnership program continue to be featured in our campaigns, and last year was no exception to that, except for at the beginning with our 21 videos that didn't perform. But they, still direct visitors directly to the partners' websites, and that campaign we're very proud of, and it's doing quite well for us.
Okay, and you mentioned we'd get back into the COVID-19 issues. What do you see as some of the biggest challenges for our stakeholders?
Yeah, I see a number of challenges. We have resident sentiment, and understandably that the residents are concerned about tourists and visitors coming into the region. We need to make sure that those residents feel comfortable with people visiting, and that means that they have safety concerns addressed by all levels of government and by their neighbors and the other people that practice business around them. Scaling up business practices. This must be very difficult for a number of businesses right now. How to remain profitable with reduced numbers of people coming through the door. So I've heard of some fantastic conversations that are happening with suppliers and businesses. There's a very strong local push that's going on right now, doing businesses with local suppliers, which is fantastic. I've also, learned of many product enhancements, how they're delivering the product differently, but also there's just a new product out there that there wasn't in the past, and a lot of it's around this virtual. But what we're struggling with on the virtual side of things is how do you monetize that? So that will come. We're very concerned about the profitability of the stakeholders. We continue to work on behalf of those stakeholders when we have conversations with all levels of government about how can they either reduce their cost or provide additional granting to them to help them through this. And also, how do we generate spend? How do we get people spending again? And part of the scaling of business practices means, are there products that you've been offering in the past that you can't be offering any longer because the profitability of that product is not strong enough for you? Labor shortages are going to be haunting us. They were haunting us before. They continue to haunt us. It's hard to get people to come back to work when they're receiving more money than they were when they were working. Compliance costs. This is something that every time I'm in a conversation with any level of government, I think this is either my first or second comment, is the compliance cost for these operators is too high, and they're going to need help. So hopefully that message is being heard, but I haven't seen much coming out of that. And probably the one that's affecting every business out there is the lack of clarity from governing bodies. And we need to have that clarity so they know how to structure their business, how to get ready for the customers, and that clarity is just not there yet. And part of that's understandable because this is brand new. No one's seen anything like this before.
Yeah.
But we need to get that. We need to make that a priority, and I think the governments have made that a priority, but it's still not to where it should be yet.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely changing day by day. That's for sure. And with that in mind, what are the next steps for RTO7?
Yeah, for us, we're looking at ways that we can limit costs to doing business. So we introduced an operator implementation program modeled off of our other implementation programs, where businesses provide us with evidence that they've spent $1,000 of operational costs, and we'll match that with $1,000 worth of media buy in social media. So they don't have to put any extra money into their business. We're just out there telling their story. We're constantly in conversations with all levels of government. If there's not 2 calls a week, there's 3. And we constantly are pushing that we need help, we need it now, and hopefully someday that message will get through. But understandably, the governments have to be concerned first and foremost with health and safety. And as much as we all want to get back to where it was, we do have to keep that in mind. Resident sentiment and customer demand are the 2 things that keep me awake at night. I constantly am concerned about the residents and making sure that their needs are met. And I think everyone's trying to do that, but there is that uncertainty at this point, and customer demand is really low right now. People aren't ready to travel yet. They don't feel safe yet. So when we're launching campaigns in the coming future that will be do things close to home. Next week, our Golf Close to Home campaign will launch and it'll be out the door. And the idea is for residents of Bruce Grey Simcoe to play golf at home. And hopefully that'll keep those businesses intact. Following that campaign, we'll be going out with paddling, hiking, cycling, and fishing. Those are all activities that social distancing can occur in quite easily, or more easily than others. And once those start to come back, we hope that the resident sentiment will be that they will see that things are more positive and things are under control, and it also gives us a chance to identify any shortfalls that we may have. Everything we're doing is on a collaborative basis. We work with the counties quite closely on this. We've got a big project going on right now with Bruce County. Bruce County's leading this, of course. It's their Tourism Innovation Lab program, Spark, which is Reimagine Your Business. So we're quite proud to be a part of that program. We're supporting it through our partnership program. So that's something we're really quite excited about. We're constantly in conversation with other RTOs about how we can partner up, what products are we working on that we can overlap with. We're each providing ideas of how we can better succeed. And of course, we're always looking at research, and we're actually in process right now with research with, I think it's 9 other RTOs on resident sentiment and how we can, and the messaging that we need to work on to get the residents to where they feel comfortable. And it's a 2-way street. It's not just us trying to convince them that they're comfortable. It's important that they are comfortable. And so we have conversations with many municipalities about what they're doing and how can we help them get their messaging out there. The last item I probably want to mention, Ali, is that our concentration right now is COVID all the time, all day, all night. And once we get past that, we'll probably resume to whatever that new normal is. But it's all about recovery for the businesses right now. And it's not just your what we would think of your typical tourism businesses, because we realize this whole region is a collective, and that all businesses have to succeed for this region to succeed. We're just looking at things a lot broader than we have in the past. No idea is a bad idea until we prove it's a bad idea type of approach.
Yeah, that's one thing I feel all the videos with our group have emphasized, that for sure if people have ideas, it'd be great to get in touch and bring them to the team and see what we can do with them.
Yeah, one of those ideas that came up, actually, I don't even know where it came from, was the From Home series that Chris Sherry is doing with it. Chris Sherry Presents, where he's featuring local artists that have a connection to Bruce Grey Simcoe, local musicians. Some of them are now relocated to Toronto, but they still have a great story about why they love this region. And I don't know where the idea started from, but there were about 4 people involved, and all of a sudden it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's kind of one of the cool things. It's something we've never tried before. You know, we've supported Chris through our programs in the past, but this is actually coming from our desk as opposed to someone else's desk, and Chris is managing it for us to get it out there. And it's really quite interesting. There's talent. There's incredible talent in this region. I just get so excited every time that a new video comes out, and I'm constantly getting back to Chris saying, when's the next video? When's the next video? I'm sure he's tired of that by now. But that's the type of thing. It's brand new to us. We're kind of excited. We've never been in the producing the product. We've always been there to support it. Now we're producing the product. Kind of neat.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks so much for your time, Bill. Hopefully that will give people a good idea of what RTO7 is doing in this unprecedented times. And as you said, it's going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of creative solutions, but I think we're up for the task.
Well, I think the whole region is up for the task. And there's a lot of incredible people out there that are stepping up that I haven't met in the past or come across in the past. And I'm constantly amazed by the talent that I'm on the phone with. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing them in person, but there will come a time when we'll get together in person, and I can hardly wait for that time to be. And I know a lot of you are in the same boat. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.